Michael Thomas smashed the wide receiver position and changed it in a single season.
First down, Michael Thomas.
In his fourth year in the league, he caught 149 passes for 1,725 yards.
What a throw and what a catch by Thomas!
Shattering Marvin Harrison's 17-year-old record for the most receptions in a single season. At just 26 years old, he won Offensive Player of the Year.
And the winner is, he goes by a lot of names. Mike T, hashtag can't guard Mike, wide receiver Michael Thomas.
Becoming the first receiver to take home the award since Jerry Rice in 1993. And in the middle of the season, he carried the New Orleans Saints to 5 straight wins, keeping their Super Bowl hopes alive while their Hall of Fame quarterback was sidelined with a broken hand.
Drew Brees has been healthy, to say the least, in his time with the New Orleans Saints. He's missed one game due to injury in 13.
From the impossible contested catches over the middle to the devastating releases off the line of scrimmage, and the way he turned a simple slant route into an automatic first down. 2019 Michael Thomas was fucking legendary. But before any of that happened, there was 2016.
Michael Thomas, Oakland Raiders 14.
What? That's crazy.
The New Orleans Saints were already an offensive powerhouse. Drew Brees, a lock for the Hall of Fame. And Sean Payton was one of the most brilliant offensive play callers in the sport. So when the 2016 NFL Draft rolled around, nobody was looking at Michael Thomas as a franchise savior. Publicly, he wasn't even considered the elite of the elite in his own draft class. Scouts praised his hands, but they questioned his top-end speed. They said he couldn't separate at the next level. They said he was just a product of the Ohio State system. Corey Coleman, Will Fuller, Josh Doctson, Laquan Treadwell, Sterling Shepard. All of them taken before Michael Thomas. Then the Saints finally made their move in the second round, selecting him at pick number 47. They weren't looking for a record breaker. They just wanted a reliable possession receiver.
With the 47th pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Michael Thomas, wide receiver, Ohio State.
But Michael Thomas wasn't thinking about being just safe. He memorized the names of every single receiver taken ahead of him. His Twitter handle, Can't Guard Mike, wasn't just a nickname, it was a warning. Fast forward to the start of 2019. Thomas had just signed a massive 5-year, $100 million contract extension, making him the highest paid receiver in the league. The critics immediately got loud. Overpaid. A product of Drew Brees. He only runs slants. It was a narrative that followed him everywhere. But behind the scenes, the Saints knew what they had. And it wouldn't take long for the rest of the league to find out. Week 2. The Los Angeles Rams on the road. It was a highly anticipated rematch of the NFC Championship game, and the Saints were looking for revenge. But early in the first quarter, disaster struck.
Drew Brees has been healthy, to say the least, in his time with the New Orleans Saints. He's missed one game due to injury in 13-plus years, and he banged his passing hand.
Drew Brees dropped back, fired a pass, and his throwing hand slammed into the massive arm of Aaron Donald. Brees jogged to the sideline. He couldn't grip the football. Torn ligament in his thumb. Surgery required. Out for at least 6 weeks.
I sit right there at the very top row. We could see it from there. It was unreal. Everybody saw it. Call the police. We got robbed. Did you see that?
It was bad. It hurts, to come here and see that.
The air was sucked out of New Orleans. For the first time in over a decade, the Saints were going to have to survive a massive stretch of the season without their legendary quarterback. Enter Teddy Bridgewater, a backup trying to rebuild his career after a knee injury the 3 years prior.
Former Louisville quarterback and current Minnesota Vikings QB Teddy Bridgewater. 25 minutes into practice today, Bridgewater went down with a non-contact injury. to his left knee. Bridgewater immediately had his knee put into an air cast, left via ambulance.
The playbook had to shrink. The deep shots were gone. And every defense in the NFL knew the Saints were going to play conservative ball control football. They knew Bridgewater had to get the ball out fast. And they knew exactly who he was going to look for. Michael Thomas was immediately double-teamed, bracketed, and shadowed by the best cornerbacks in the world. Without Brees, his production was supposed to plummet, but instead, it accelerated.
Michael Thomas, the catch. Thomas, the touchdown for the Saints.
Week 3, Seattle. In one of the loudest stadiums in the world, Bridgewater needed a safety blanket. Thomas gave him 5 catches for 54 yards and a crucial touchdown in a 33-27 win. Week 4, Sunday Night Football, Dallas.
Prescott throws over the middle and Witten fumbles and loses it.
The Cowboys' defense was swarming and the Saints couldn't find the end zone. But Thomas caught 9 passes for 95 yards. Moving the chains, absorbing hits, setting up field goals in a gritty 12-10 victory. Week 5, Tampa Bay. Michael Thomas was immediately double-teamed.
Down the middle, toward the sideline. Catch made by Michael Thomas.
This was the explosion. 11 catches, 182 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bridgewater just kept feeding him. It didn't matter if there was a cornerback pressed on his face or a safety hovering over the top. Thomas would release.
Down the middle, toward the sideline. Catch made by Michael Thomas.
Use his massive frame, block out the defender like a power forward getting a rebound, and snatch the ball out of the air. Week 6, Jacksonville.
Dancing and throws over the middle, incomplete.
A defensive slugfest. And a game where every single yard had to be earned the hard way. But Thomas was methodical. 8 catches, 89 yards, just chipping away at the coverage, taking what they gave him, doing the quiet, dirty work to secure a 13-6 win. Week 7, Chicago. Going into Soldier Field against a Bears defense, they knew Bridgewater had to throw it. They knew where it was going, and they still couldn't stop it.
Under pressure, lofts. Oh my! What a throw and what a catch by Thomas. And are they saying he's down?
9 catches, 131 yards. No arrogance, no showing off. Just catching the ball, taking the hit, and getting up. And tossing the ball to the referee to do it all over again in a 36-25 victory. Defensive coordinators were losing their minds, and people were comparing him to Jerry Rice.
Does the name Jerry Rice ever pop in your head? I mean, seriously, obviously you got a ton of more time to go. Situating yourself for a long run here that you've already started statistically, Michael. I wonder if that actually ever goes through your temples.
As an overall unit and your team's winning, those type of things people start to notice and pay attention to more. So as long as we keep winning and staying on track and focus on things we need to focus on, I feel like the rewards and the conversations and people will catch up, you know.
They knew the ball was going to number 13. They designated entire game plans around stopping number 13. And number 13 was still catching 10 passes a game. During that 5-game stretch without Brees, the New Orleans Saints went 5-0. They didn't just survive, they thrived. And Thomas was the tank engine, catching 42 passes for 551 yards and 3 scores with a backup quarterback. He completely destroyed the narrative that he was just a product of Drew Brees. He proved he was the system. And then, the king came back. Week 8, Drew Brees returns.
For the block. Here they come. Jones has got him. Brees escapes and dumps it off, and it's caught by the tight end Hill.
The Arizona Cardinals come to town, and Brees looked right back at home, targeting his favorite weapon 11 times. Thomas caught all 11 of them, 112 yards and a touchdown. And then the run started. Week 10, the Atlanta Falcons.
4th and 1 for the first down, 2 for the touchdown. Ryan throws for it.
A bitter division rivalry. 13 catches, 152 yards. Week 11, Tampa Bay again. 8 catches, 114 yards. Another touchdown.
Conversation on the sideline apparently paid off.
Week 12, Carolina. 10 catches, 101 yards, and a touchdown. 4 straight games over 100 yards. Every single Sunday, he was putting up video game numbers. He wasn't just running past people with 4.3 speed. And he wasn't destroying them with precision. His route running was a masterclass in biomechanics. He would burst off the line, sink his hips, and break off his route with such intensity that cornerbacks simply fell down.
Rotation here. He beats the blitz with speed and decision making and then throws an absolute arrow to Michael Thomas.
And the slant boy jokes? Gone. Yes, he was the best in the world at the slant route because his release was completely unguardable. But he was beating teams on digs, on deep comebacks, on outs, on double moves. If the cornerback played off, he ran a hitch and took free yards. By the time December rolled around, people weren't just talking about Michael Thomas as the best receiver in football. They were talking about history.
But it's a prime example. Michael Thomas just made a $100 million extension 5 years. He's worth every penny.
In 2002, Marvin Harrison caught 143 passes for the Indianapolis Colts.
Long ball. He's got an open man. Marvin Harrison kills him again.
It was a record that seemed untouchable. For 17 years, the greatest receivers of a generation tried to reach it. Calvin Johnson, Julio Jones, Antonio Brown. Nobody could catch it. It required too much consistency, too much durability, and too much pure volume. But entering Week 16, December 22nd, 2019, the Saints were in Nashville playing the Tennessee Titans. And Michael Thomas needed just 11 catches to break the unbreakable record. The Titans knew it. The Saints knew it. The 69,000 people in Nissan Stadium knew it. Early in the game, the Titans' defense was incredibly physical. They were determined not to be the team on the wrong end of history. But Thomas was inevitable.
As Thomas makes the catch for another first down.
First quarter, a quick out. Catch. Second quarter, a dig route over the middle. Catch. By the fourth quarter, the Saints had battled back from an early 14-0 deficit. They were in an absolute dogfight. They needed to win to keep their playoff seeding alive. Brees wasn't forcing the ball to Thomas for the record. He was throwing to him because it was the only way they were going to win. With under 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter, the Saints were driving, trailing 28-24. Thomas had 10 catches on the day. He was tied with Marvin Harrison at 143. Third and short. Brees drops back. The pocket holds. The defender is a step behind. Brees fires a laser. Thomas snatches it out of the air. Catch number 11 on the day.
Brees looking his way, and there it is. A new NFL record. Reaching across for a touchdown. How about it?
Catch number 144 on the season. The record books cracked open. He had done it. But the game wasn't over. On that exact same drive, a few plays later, Brees looked to the end zone. He found Thomas again, his 12th catch of the game for a 2-yard touchdown.
Second and goal. Brees to the end zone for a touchdown.
The go-ahead score. The Saints won 38-28. In the locker room after the game, Sean Payton handed Michael Thomas the game ball.
He's a fantastic player for us, and it was good to see him, get a milestone like that. And yet, for him, it's always about winning, though.
He had just completed the greatest receiving season in the history of the sport, and he had done it while carrying his team to a 13-3 record. He finished the season against Carolina in Week 17 with one final masterpiece. 4 catches, 37 yards, bringing his final immortal total to 149. 149 catches. It's a number that still looks like a typo today. When the season awards were announced, it was a clean sweep. First team All-Pro, Pro Bowler, and the NFL Offensive Player of the Year. He was the first wide receiver to win the award since Jerry Rice in 1993. Let that sink in. Randy Moss in 2007 didn't win it. Calvin Johnson in 2012 didn't win it.
Calvin Johnson. He's got it.
But 2019 Michael Thomas did. And we all know what happened next. The NFL is a brutal, unforgiving business. In Week 1 of the 2020 season, a meaningless late-game tackle resulted in a severe high ankle sprain. The injuries piled up. The surgeries didn't go as planned. The prime of his career was cruelly robbed from him.
No one could have predicted one of New Orleans' youngest and best players having to sit out this early. In the final minutes of New Orleans' 34-23 Week 1 win over Tampa Bay, star wideout Michael Thomas injured his ankle, having his left leg rolled up on by teammate Latavius Murray.
People like to debate legacy. They like to focus on longevity. And because of injuries, some people try to diminish what he was. But history doesn't care about what ifs. History cares about what actually happened on the grass. And what happened on the grass in 2019 was legendary. For 16 weeks, he was the most terrifying offensive force in football. He beat double coverage, survived the loss of a Hall of Fame quarterback, and broke a 17-year-old record. Can't Guard Mike wasn't just a Twitter handle. In 2019, it was the absolute truth. But sometimes things can go horribly wrong. Just take what happened to this NFL star. Check out this video to get the full story. Hit that like and subscribe button and make Primetime your go-to for all your NFL action. I'll see you on the next one.